To create your textures on your boxes, you'll notice that they're just slightly a little bit larger. And this is training your eye to draw what you see, not what you know. And you'll look at where your objects, or in this case, your lines, connect to the outside edge. And then that's where you're going to begin drawing. And you can start, and you're going to have to enlarge it just slightly, is also part of what you're doing. And you'll notice it has a specific shading technique on it. And you're just going to draw what you see and set that up. And then when you get to the next line, you're going to look at the next row of feathers. You're going to look at where they come in to your edges of your box. You're going to look at where they line up with each other. Do they come in to the one before it, in the middle? Are they over to the side? How does that look? What shape are they? And you just draw what you see. You have to go back and forth between each of your paper and your image with your box. I like to kind of keep my finger where I'm working. It helps guide me where I need to go. You do what works for you, figure out what works for you. And when you get all of your rows of your feathers set up, then you're going to come in and you're going to do what is your shading technique. And you're going to set that up, and you're going to have to look at your values, your lights, your darks, and you're going to lay in this case, the hatching technique. And you're going to put in where your lights are, where your grays, your medium values are, because it should have some value on all of it. And then where it's darkest is where you're going to have your darker areas. And you don't have to make your lines dark. You can do that by layering on top of the pencil that's already there to get those values. And then if you'll look at where they intersect with each of the other feathers, you'll notice it's a darker area. Don't outline your work. Let your values create those edges, and you just create your hatching on each of your feathers to match your image. The hair one is pretty self-explanatory. It looks easy. It's just lines. And so you're going to come in and you're going to layer lines to create the illusion of hair and create that texture. Again, where it's darker, you can layer in more lines and you will fill the box in with that. Now, when you get over to your stones, you'll notice that we've moved from lines to shapes, and we're looking at organic freeform shapes. And you're doing the same thing. You're looking at your positive and negative space, and you're enlarging what you see from this box over to the drawing paper. And you're going to look at your space between each of the rocks. That's going to help you determine their size. And you can always work a little as you go, because you do have a, still have more of a hatching technique going, and you're going to fill that in. So the area behind your stones are going to be dark, and they're going to be hatched lines that you're going to come in, put those in there. And you can kind of see with the way it goes that you probably need to work up and down in some areas with your hatching. You can kind of make that a little bit more of a shading where you're working with it. And you're going to fill up your stones, if that's with those lines. And then when you do the actual stones, you're going to have a little bit of a type of hatching going on. There's no white on these, so you have to do, you can do a little smudging if you want, but they're not smooth. They are rough, so you don't want to do a lot of that. And then you're just going to look at it, determine what goes where. And even if you consider it more of a coloring technique, you could probably do that. And you're going to lay that in and create that texture for those. Same thing with the waves. You're drawing what you see and putting those lines in your box. You're just going to line up where they are here and fill in those spaces as well, and follow those curved lines. Find out where they stop and start, where they come down, and then you're just going to mimic those wave lines with that, with the water. And then if you need to add a little value to it, you can come in and just add a little bit of light value to that. Then the wood, same thing, we're still working with line, and you're just going to fill that in. If you want to make a few changes, that's fine. Wood paneling, wood rings inside of your trees. They're just lines that tell us how old the trees are. And you can just decide and fill that up. This one's going to be a little trickier. This is your woven basket. We've already worked with overlapping. Again, you're going to look at your negative space, and you have both cross hatching and hatching with this technique. So you're going to be doing your hatching on the strips, and then you're going to have cross hatching in the background. And you have to look at, again, where they're intersecting, where they're meeting up. Change things if you have things in the wrong place. Your cross hatching is going to be in the background because that's going to create your nice dark texture. And then you're just going to have a light texture of hatching here. And you need to match that value with that as well. Okay.